Happy Sunday, happy Monday. It's Monday. Welcome to the studentloanjustice.org live stream. My name is Alan Collins. Hope you like all the cool little Christmas stuff going on here. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah to everybody. It may be the holidays, but this is the most important time in the fight for student loan justice in the 16 going on 17-year history of our organization. So I'm glad that you found us. What took you so long? We are the oldest and largest and I think biggest grassroots group fighting only and absolutely for student loan justice. So there's a lot going on. By the way, if you have questions or comments, throw them out now. If you're on Facebook, I can see them. If you're not on Facebook, unfortunately, I cannot. So join us on Facebook if you want to comment. Facebook.com/groups/SLJ group. So tonight, there's a lot I could talk about. I kind of want to do an open forum though. So just off the top of my head, what's happening in the news right now? Well, number one, the most important thing, obviously, we need to get the threat of bankruptcy gone. We need to get the threat of bankruptcy returned to student loans. The threat of bankruptcy has been gone from student loans since like 1977. It lies at the core of this problem. If you're like me, you want these loans to go away. I've been doing this for way too many years. I'm way too old. I'm done. These student loans need to go away. They need to be canceled. But folks, ladies and gentlemen, I am here to tell you that as a practical matter, we are not going to see meaningful student loan cancellation from the Biden administration unless and until we get the threat of bankruptcy returned. If bankruptcy is not returned, we're going to see the same nonsense that we saw in 2007, in 2011, and again here more recently. What we're going to see is a nonsense up to $50,000 loan cancellation at the most, which will mean almost nothing for almost everyone. Joe Biden will say, hey, I'm canceling up to $50,000 in student loans. But for you, no, you're not getting that because this reason, that reason, bureaucracy, blah, blah, blah. You get $8,000. And oh, by the way, in the year that it took them to do all this, they're going to add $8,000 in interest to your loan. It will be something like that. It will mean almost nothing for almost everyone. And it will mean absolutely nothing for many. We're not doing that again, guys. We've been fighting this battle for far too long. We've seen far too many lives and even families wrecked by this predatory debt instrument. We're not going to fall for the trick of some fake nonsense loan cancellation at the cost of bankruptcy. Guys, bankruptcy and loan cancellation are not against each other. They're not competing concepts. They are complementary concepts. And in fact, the latter relies upon the former. In other words, we've got to get the threat of bankruptcy back if we are going to see meaningful loan cancellation. When bankruptcy is returned, all of a sudden, everything changes. The threat of the citizens overwhelming the bankruptcy courts will be very real. Joe Biden or whoever the president is, they will essentially have to cancel loans. They'll have to. There's a very good reason that the Founding Fathers called for uniform bankruptcy laws ahead of the power to declare war, ahead of the power to raise an army in the Constitution. And this student loan monstrosity is precisely what they were worried about. So guys, we got this. We've got a great bill in the Senate right now, S-2598. If you forget everything that I tell you tonight, remember at least to go to our website and call both of your senators this week. Call them once, call them twice, call their local offices, call the media, do more than that. But the minimum that we're asking everybody to do, and if you care at all about getting loans canceled, You will call both of your senators. It's 2 phone calls, guys. It's not hard. 2 phone calls. It'll take you probably 7 minutes. Not even that. Try and get through to a human, but whatever. Tell them to co-sponsor S2598. Tell them to co-sponsor S2598. By the way, if they happen to be Republicans, say it much more strongly and call them twice as much. The Republicans are important on this, guys. They have opposed us historically, and there's no good reason for it. This bill has more Republicans on it right now as I'm talking to you than it does Democrats, believe it or not. Josh Hawley, MAGA, I guess you could say a Trump Republican in Missouri, and John Cornyn, sort of maybe an older school Republican from Texas, are co-sponsored on this bill. Tell your senator, in particular your Republican senator, to join Josh Hawley and John Cornyn and co-sponsor this bill. It's very important, very important. In fact, this is the difference between us getting meaningful actual loan cancellation and not. And guys, I don't know what your situation is, but my situation is this. I'm 51 years old. I've been fighting this battle for 16 plus years. We've come close to solving this problem in the past, but it's never been quite enough. This time, it's enough because this time the lending system is catastrophically failed. We need these loans gone. We're not going to be fooled. We're not going to be fooled again by some nonsense bullshit, pardon my French, loan cancellation. We're not doing that. That game's been played and we lost. Not doing that. Got to fight for S2598. And by the way, guys, get ready to not pay your loans if you can at all possibly do that on February 1st. If indeed they do decide to turn on this lending system, I give it about a 50-50. But if they do turn on this lending system, no matter what you do, far less than half of everyone is going to pay. I think it'll be closer to about 25%. So before the pandemic, less than half of the people were paying. So now it's going to be way less than 50%. Hey, Jim Smith, I've called. Thank you, Jim. I appreciate that. Do what Jim did. Take it upon yourself to own this problem because these are your loans, your problem. And the only way anything ever good happens for us, the borrowers, is when we, the borrowers, step up, own this problem. And come on, guys, at least make your 2 effing phone calls. It's not that hard. Don't sit back. Don't wait. Don't watch. Don't worry. Don't eat popcorn. Don't cheerlead. Don't expect anybody else to pull your weight for you. This is your problem. These are your senators. It's your state. By the way, if you have 1 or 2 Republican senators, there's a good chance that your state is being absolutely buried in federal student loan debt. This is a problem that no true conservative should be supporting. No true conservative should be supporting this diabolical big government college enriching lending monstrosity. So the Constitution is on our side. Don't ever forget that. The founding fathers are on our side. And it's a pretty straight line, guys, between us getting the threat of bankruptcy back and seeing the president finally, actually, meaningfully cancel student loans. Quite frankly, this lending system is so far gone at this point, it may become obvious to them that the best thing to do is to simply cancel all the loans, erase the lending system from existence. I mean, really, we were looking at a default rate of something like 70 or so % even before this pandemic. We just threw trillions of dollars out into the country in PPP stimulus. These are loans that don't need to be repaid, in all kinds of stimulus. All that stuff added to the national debt and required money to be drawn from the Treasury. Well, the president, Joe Biden, the Secretary of Education, they can cancel all federally owned student loans without needing 1 penny from the Treasury, without needing 1 signature of approval from Congress, without adding 1 dime to the national debt. There is no easier way to stimulate the economy. I mean, for me, honestly, Donald Trump's biggest mistake of his presidency was not canceling these loans. We're a fiercely nonpartisan group, guys, no matter whether you're a Democrat or Republican, or if you're like me and you can't stand either party, you're very welcome here. And we respect that. Our strength is our political diversity, believe it or not. But yeah, having said that, Donald Trump really screwed up by not canceling these loans. We pushed him, believe it or not. We were in a conversation with Jared Kushner, the White House speechwriting team, through an intermediary whose name I don't think he wants me to mention, but we were kind of close, believe it or not, before the election. But for whatever reason, they decided not to do it. That cost Donald Trump the election, definitely. And Joe Biden is terrible. Joe Biden has managed to deeply insult the 45 million federal and other student loan borrowers in this country by the nonsense, the betrayal that he has demonstrated over this past first 11 months of his presidency. We are the largest political bloc in that I can think of. Like, how many people really feel strongly about the abortion thing? I'm guessing maybe 15 million people or something, 20 million. I don't know. How many illegal immigrants are there in the country? Like 20 million or something. I don't know. How many people are super gung-ho on gun control? I don't know, maybe 50 million or something. Well, there's 50 million federal student loan borrowers. There's probably another 5 or 10 million private student loan borrowers. And there's also their family members, guys. And 80% of those people they were losing sleep over their student loans before the pandemic. So, guys, that's nearly enough people to elect a president outright. We are the biggest bonanza, the biggest political bonanza in modern U.S. political history. And neither party has managed to do the right thing yet. So we are pushing both parties, folks. I don't care, like I said, whether you're Republican, Democrat, or you hate them all like I do, you're very welcome here on this group. But yeah, guys, it starts with bankruptcy. One more important point I have to make: if they turn the lending system back on February 1st, and it kind of sounds like they're going to try, if they do that, we are going to see a massive wave of defaults. Very few people are going to resume paying. As I said, probably less than 25%. That's as it should be. People shouldn't pay. People should not be feeding this failed catastrophically big government lending beast. Don't feed the beast. That's crazy. Why would you throw your good money after this into this zombie failed catastrophically lending system? Don't make it stronger with your money. Don't do that if you can possibly not do it. But whatever, people are going to make their own decisions. The bottom line is we are going to see a massive wave of non-payment and defaults. And if and when that happens, we definitely want to have the threat of bankruptcy back in our back pockets, guys. We do not want to make ourselves more vulnerable than we need to the student loan collection goons. We don't want this to have a bad outcome, guys. This lending system should have a very clean and quick and economically stimulating and population encouraging, like patriotism invoking solution. We don't want that dirty, dark, dystopian alternative where this becomes some kind of a weird police collection state with collection companies knocking down your door and putting liens on your property and all that nonsense. We don't want that. We don't want that. We've got to have the threat of bankruptcy back on our side. Founding fathers called for bankruptcy ahead of the power to declare war, ahead of the power to raise an army, ahead of the power to coin currency, ahead of the power to build a navy, ahead of the power to create a judiciary, ahead of the power to create a post office. Like all those things I just mentioned. If you look at Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution, founding fathers called for uniform bankruptcy laws above on that very same list, ahead on that list of all those other things. So guys, we got this. Nobody wants to file for bankruptcy. It's a terrible thing to have to do. That's not the point. Very few people should even have to file for bankruptcy when we get this right returned. Just the threat of bankruptcy is what is necessary and, in fact, critical in order to get loan cancellation. And a multitude of other fixes, by the way. This is not just loan cancellation. If this lending system is even going to continue, which quite frankly, I kind of don't think it will. I think if the people in Washington finally realize that the jig is up, and I think they are, I think they'll probably start everything from scratch. I think they'll cancel all loans and say, all right, just forget about that one. And they'll come up with a better way to finance college in this country. But if that doesn't happen, it's absolutely critical that we have the threat of bankruptcy back, no matter what. With the threat of bankruptcy back, if this lending system persists, we'll need the threat of bankruptcy ongoing in order to ensure that whatever program, whatever loan forgiveness, or whatever things they have going on in the next higher education financing system, the threat of bankruptcy has still got to be there to force the lending side to behave with a modicum of good faith in order for them to crack the whip on the colleges, to keep their prices low. In fact, to slash their prices, to put meaningful lending or other limits on how much money they're going to give the colleges so they can't exploit our young people. Bankruptcy is very important for very many reasons. So, yeah, I mean, we're fighting for loan cancellation, guys. Don't get me wrong. The two are not competing concepts. They are complementary concepts, and the one depends on the other. Don't forget, it was our group right here that started the petition that ignited the conversation about canceling student loans by executive order in the first place. That started here, believe it or don't, it did. And we are fully on board, wholly committed. In fact, we are demanding that all federally owned loans be canceled. And that's really the first and best thing that any president can do. Donald Trump should have done it, like I said. But at the same time, bankruptcy remains a priority. I mean, we won't get cancellation until we get bankruptcy. So there you go. There you have it right there. Bankruptcy is the most important of the two. But the two are critical, both of them. So I hope that makes sense to you. Nobody wants to file for bankruptcy. Bankruptcy sucks. It's no picnic. But very few people will even have to file when we get the right returned, which brings me back to getting our bill passed and everybody having a moral obligation to fight not only for themselves, but for the 50 million people in the country and the hundreds of millions of people that are going to follow in our footsteps. I'm trying to point to that thing, and there's a delay here. Okay, yeah, right there. Go to our website. It'll say call your senators. Click on that. You'll get the DC phone numbers for both of your senators. Call those numbers. Call those numbers twice, 2 phone calls. Do it tomorrow. If they're Republican, tell them to join Josh Hawley and John Cornyn. Anyone? In co-sponsoring S2598. If I had a sign that said that, I would say that. So yeah, guys, this is important on every level for every reason. And if you want student loan cancellation, you came to exactly the right place. Don't believe whatever distractive noise anybody might be throwing out against our agenda of bankruptcy and loan cancellation. There are no other solutions, no other meaningful solutions. There's a lot of noise out there, guys. Don't pay any attention to it. That's what they want. They want to distract you. And that is why we've been around for 16 years instead of 2 years. If people had listened to us back in 2006, this lending system would have been solved like 14 years ago. So yeah, guys, we got this. We've got over 1 million people on our petition. We've got an army. But that only counts when you sitting there help us flex this muscle. If all 1,070,000 people on our petition and all 50 or 60,000 people, or probably 100,000 people across our other platforms actually stepped up and helped us fight, we could have these loans gone by New Year's. I kid you not. Well, maybe not technically, but legally, we could have these loans gone by February 1st. Like, honestly, if even a third of the people on our group, on our petition, actually stepped up and helped, we could have these loans gone by February 1st. 330,000 people making over 600,000 phone calls a day to Congress. That's enough to blow up the switchboard of every phone line in Washington, well, in Congress on Capitol Hill. You have no idea what a large muscle we now have to flex. You have no idea how important you are. And you have no idea how important this battle is, not only for you, but for tens, hundreds of millions of people, maybe even billions of people, if you really want to draw out the analogy. But yeah, guys, it's just so important. So it's Monday night. It's the holidays. I will leave it there at that. But thank you again, Jim, and everyone who's pitching up to help. If you want to watch out, if you want to participate in our conversations in the future, you have to come to our Facebook group. So just do that. But you can find everything through our website, which is like right there. You can find our Facebook group. You can find our YouTube channel. You can find our Instagram, our TikTok, our Twitter, our everything there. So go to the website. You can figure it out. But we need your help, guys. Don't think you can let this drop. You cannot. You can't unhear what I said. We are the pioneers. I kid you not. We are the tip of the spear. In fact, we are the spear. Look no further. This is it. I know it doesn't maybe look like it, but we, this group, are the motivating force that has brought this issue to where it is. We were the group that convinced Elizabeth Warren to bring bankruptcy into her campaign. We were the group that pushed Joe Biden to adopt her bankruptcy pledge. We were the group that started the petition which launched the whole concept of canceling loans by executive order in the first place, which is now top of the news. So that all started here, guys. There's no substitute for people power. Don't think that the other groups, the ACLU or NCLC or any of these Washington, D.C. establishment groups are going to solve this problem for us. We have learned the very hard way over 16 years of trying that never happens. Never. What does happen, what does work, and what makes this loan problem be solved, what makes these loans go away are people, human, blood coursing through our veins, soul having people like you and me that fight this battle, take it seriously. So, maybe the last thing I'll say tonight is it would be super helpful if you could join your state chapter group. We've got 50 state chapters. And most of them have like between 100 and like 400 people on them. So they're not huge. They're good. They're a good fighting size, I think. Quite frankly, I think maybe smaller groups are a little better. Please go to our website, find your state chapter, join your state chapter, and help get it going. We need passionate leadership. It's passionate people who have ever changed the world. And if you have the passion to fight this battle, this morally upright, this good fight, this constitutionally blessed challenge, struggle, whatever you want to call it, that we're engaged in, then step up, join your state chapter, help lead your state. And we'll help you in any way that we can. So, all right, guys, have a great night. I hope you all are doing well wherever you may be. Good luck. God bless. And Godspeed, everybody. And please donate if you can. If you would, please, just a little bit. We don't need a lot at all. Thanks.